Hello everyone. In object-oriented programming, inheritance is a process where one object can get all properties and behaviors of its parent or base object. In such way, we can reuse, extend, or modify the attributes and behavior which is defined in base or parent class. So now let me explain the need for inheritance. Let's take a look at these two classes, dog class and cat class. And here we can see some attributes and some behaviors. And we have color attributes, they are common, and eat behaviors, they are common in both classes. So designer said that why don't we put them, these common things, in one single class, which is called base class or parent class, and then let them, these two dog and cat class, take them, acquire them as it is their own attributes and behaviors. So we can simply create a class animal, and then we can put color and eat here. Then in order to share the functionality of this color and eat, we have to use this term. So class dog extend animal, or class dog, it's a subclass of animal superclass here. So by doing this, we don't have to put color and eat in both dog and cat class. And then animal is extended or inherited from the animal class. Dog, it's a class that can that inherited from the animal class, and the cat as well, it's a class inherited from animal class. And then for this base class, we can call it parent class or superclass or base class. And then for this class, which is subclass, that is extending the animal class, which is called child class. And here cat and dogs are called child classes. And there are some terms regarding inheritance. When we see superclass, base class, or parent class, that means that we are talking about the class which is sharing its functionalities. When we talk about subclass, derived class, or child class, that means which is a class that is accepting functionality from the parent class. And extending, inheriting, deriving, they're all meaning the same. And then it's just simply telling that one class become a subclass of another class. There are some examples here. We can see that, for instance, let's say we want to create some shapes, and then this could be circle, square, triangle, sphere, cube, and tetrahedron. That means we need to, first of all, create a base class called shape, and then we can have two different types of shapes, two-dimensional and three-dimensional shapes, and then we can create another class, two-dimensional shape, and under this one, we can create circle, square, triangle, because they are all two-dimensional shapes. So we can put some common attributes and behavior in the base class, so we don't have to rewrite them again and again in the child classes. That means we are reusing the existing code here. In the same way, we can do the same for three-dimensional shapes. And then we can put all common things under the three-dimensional shape, and then we can define later shape, cube, and tetrahedron using less variables. An employee could be the same logic. So actually, inheritance is simply parent-child relationship between classes, and then we use inheritance for two main purposes. The first one is for code reusability, and then we write the variable and methods, which means attributes and behaviors, one time in a class, and then we can create child from that class. That means we can reuse the same code from the base class. And the other usage, the reason why we are using inheritance is method overriding. a class can override existing behavior from the parent class. We can directly share the functionality of a base class, or we can override it. That means we can change the definition of the existing method, and then we can implement it in different ways. So in C#, we have three types of inheritance. The first one is single inheritance. That means one class can be a child of another class, a base class. And another usage could be multi-level inheritance. For example, class B is a child of class A and C is child of class B. Here, B is child of A. At the same time, B is parent of class C here. Or we can use hierarchical inheritance. That means different classes can inherit one base class. And then this is allowed. But in C# or in Java, one class cannot inherit from two classes at the same time. So this is not acceptable, but if you want to have multiple inheritance, which we will mention it later, we need to use interfaces for this, but normally one class can be extended from another class. It cannot be extended from two classes at the same time. So this is not valid in C#. In C#, we can specify a class as parent by using column symbol. So class cat, and then column here animal. That means public class cat, it's a child class of animal base class. And by default, even if we don't mention it, object class, it's a base class of parent class of any class in C#. And we'll talk about the constructors, and the constructors are not inherited. That means each class must have its own constructor. And we will explain this later. And we have base keyword. The base keyword is used to access members of the base class from within a derived class. We can use it if you want, and then we can use it to call method on the base class that has been overridden by another method. And then we specify which base class constructor should be called when creating instances of the derived class. So let's start making some examples using inheritance in C#. Let's go back to our original problem. So we have dog class and we have cat class. Let's write these classes separately, and later on let's use inheritance to redefine them. And I would like to create a class called dog, which is class dog. And this class, I would like to put something here. Make it, make it string color and string breed. Public string color, public string breed. And then we have two methods. Let's take a look at this method. We have bark and eat. Public void bark method. And then we have public void eat method. Let's copy and paste this one, create another class. It will be cat class, add class cat. And then maybe we don't have to copy this. It's better to write it string color integer 8. Public string color. Then public integer age, and we have public void mew method, and then we have public void eat method. Okay, inheritance says that you don't have to define same thing twice. For example, in cat we have color and it. In dog we have same color and it. It says that create another class which will be the parent class, and it will take the common. And then, so since we know that cat and dogs are animals, it's better to define the parent class as an animal. Add and class, call these animals. And here, just simply cut them, public string color, and another one is going to be 8. Then, sorry for this, just simply cut this one and then paste here. So now I have it, and I can organize my class and make it better look like. And then, so since we have color and it, we will share this functionality, and then we don't have to define them again here. I can simply say that dog class dogs is a child of class animal, and same go animal here. Now we've done an inheritance. Okay, let us see whether, for example, cat has color or not, because normally cat doesn't contain definition of cat color, but we expect it from the animal. And then go to main class and let's create some object. I would like to create a cat object, cat new cat. And the problem here is cat is not a public class, so I cannot access this one. It's better to make this public and do the same for the dog and for the cat here, for the animal. And here we have the cat, and cat cannot be found here because we didn't add this using here. Okay, now I have a cat, and then cat, if I say age, it's fine because cat is an age. What if I say cat dot color? You see, I have a color attributes because the color attributes comes from animal class, and cat, since cat is a subclass of an animal. In fact, cat is an animal. If animal has a color, that means cat also must have color attribute here. Good. And in the same logic, we can have dog, and then new dog. Then dog has some attribute. Okay, it has a bark, and it has a breed because this comes from dog, bark and breed. But it can also contain color and it method, color and then it, because we said that we don't have to rewrite the same code. Instead, we can reuse the existing code from a base class here. Here, animal is a base class. So let me compile these methods in the animal and then in cat classes. Okay, let's go here under this it and say console write line. I would like to simply say animals eat. And then I would like to go and I don't want to do anything, just leave it like this, and go main class and simply say cat.eat, and then dog.eat. And then if I run this code, I will see that both cat and dog will call it method. Since they are taking this it method, they're inheriting this it method from the animal class, it will say simply animals eat, animals eat. But I know that the way cat is eating is different than the way dog is eating. Therefore, if we want, we can change the definition of method. And actually, we explained in the slides, we said that we can use inheritance for two main purposes. The first one is code reusability. We are already using we are already reusing the same code because we defined it one time in animal class and we are reusing it. But if I want to change the behavior of a child class, what should I do here? This is called actually override. Now let me explain this. In C# if you want to override a method which is defined in a parent class, that means you want to change the definition, you have to put virtual before the return type. So public virtual void and then it. Now, if you go to the child class, you can simply say public override. Then you can see the it method comes here. So you can simply say void and then it. Then you can write whatever you want here. For example, console write line, and you can say here cats eat. In the same logic, you can do the same and in the dog class, you can say public override, then void eat method. It's auto completing the codes here, and then you can see dogs eat. I didn't change my code in the main class, but if I run, let's see what's happening here. And take a look at here. You see, cats eat, dogs eat. Because cat is an eat, and then it is taking a look at the definition of eat. And then since the eat method is overridden in the cat class, it will go to this definition and then process or perform this method. This is called override. And then the subclass, if it doesn't, or child class, if it doesn't like the definition of any method, it can simply override it by changing its definition here. I would like to say something here. In the cat class, if without just doing this one, if I simply say base dot it, this will actually, even if we override the definition of eat methods, but we simply say call eat in the base class. That means base is an animal here. It will go to animal and then print this out here. Then if I run the project, you can see animals eat and dogs eat, because in the cat we said call the method in the base class. Okay, having this is equal to having this one. So you are overriding, but at the same time you're calling the base method. That means you don't have to override a method here.